How you doing? I'm Big D. Welcome to my show, The Boiling Point. Today is January 21st, 2024. We're going to go over some things that couldn't wait till next Saturday. Plus, with Saturday, I'm going to have a guest. It's Propane. I'm sure you probably could remember him from last time when just before the actual removal of my channel, thanks to YouTube. But that will be 2 p.m. Eastern Time next Saturday, and it's going to be on Flat Earth. If you're interested, because you wanted to get more details, please stop in. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all for future updates on all my shows. But usually it's 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. Let's see if I could share the very first. We will get to that in a moment. And go right into what's needed to be said and what I couldn't wait to give in a week. Don't believe you're going to find this on mainstream media anytime soon. Now, professor and election expert Jay Halderman, he hacks into a Dominion voting machine in court on Friday. Now, this was in a courthouse in Georgia. Now, this also happened in front of the judge, Judge Totenberg, using only a pen to change the vote totals. Kind of interesting that that's all we hear. There's no proof. Well, it's finally hitting the courts. All of the court appearances, they never allowed any type of evidence. They always stated there's no standing for a court case. So it never moved on to anything further than, sorry, no standing, no court case. So they always said it was Trump lost the case. Well, it was never a case. Case never originated. Let's give you the details. Let's go back to June 2023. The Federal District Court for the Northern District of Georgia unsealed the 96-page Halderman report. Now, the security analyst of Georgia's ImageCast X ballot marking devices. Now, Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger had been hiding this report from the public for 2 years. University of Michigan professor of computer science and engineering, Alex Halderman, and security researchers and assistant professor at Auburn University, Drew Schringall, collaborated on the report where they discovered many exploitable vulnerabilities in the Dominion voting system, ImageCast X system. How you doing, William? Nice to see you here. I appreciate every time you stop in. Very nice to see you. I hope your weekend's going well. Now, far left Judge Amy Totenberg sealed and covered up the results of the investigation of the Dominion voting machines in Georgia and sat on the report until this week. Now, the report confirmed that votes were altered in Dominion voting machines. In fact, the report revealed that Dominion software is vulnerable and can be hacked. Following the release, Voter GA founder Garland Favorito joined Steve Bannon on the War Room to discuss the findings from the explosive report. Now, Trump-hating Secretary of State Raffensperger hid this information from the public until 2023, which many didn't even hear about it even when it was released. So why was that? Why was that? What could it possibly mean? Back in September 2020, the court granted the ruling plaintiff access to one of Georgia's touchscreen ballot marking devices so that they could assess its security. Drew and let's see, who's the other individual? Anyways, they extensively tested the machine and discovered these vulnerabilities in nearly every part of the system. This is exposed to potential hackers. The most critical problem was found in the arbitrary code execution vulnerability that can be exploited to spread malware from a county's central election management system, the EMS, to every BMD in the jurisdiction. This makes it possible to attack the BMDs at scale over a wide area without needing physical access to any of them. Our report explains how attackers could exploit the flaws we found to change votes or potentially even affect election outcome in Georgia, including how they could defeat the technical and procedural protections the state has in place. While we are not aware of any evidence that the vulnerability has been exploited to change votes in past elections without more precautions and mitigations, there is a serious risk that they will be exploited in the future. Now, after the release of the report, Professor Halderman tweeted that Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger would not install Dominion security patches before the 2024 election. He just says, I'm not going to do it. Now, this on Friday, in a federal court in Atlanta, Georgia, J. Alex Halderman was able to hack the Dominion machines to change the tabulation in front of a U.S. District Court Judge Amy Totenberg in the courtroom. And Halderman only used a pen to change vote totals. Now, this is part of a long-running lawsuit by election integrity activists, such as set as a bench trial. The plaintiffs seek to remove what they say are insecure voting machines in Georgia in favor of secure paper ballots. This is what is needed going forward until possibly a quantum voting system. It is I'm just shocked that it's finally, into the courts and hoping for a better outcome. At least maybe it won't change what's happened in the past, but it needs to be changed going forward. So, bankruptcy judge, moving on to the next. Bankruptcy judge allows Rudy Giuliani to seek a new trial to challenge the $148 million defamation verdict awarded to Georgia election workers. Now, this is incredible news of what I just told you, and that Rudy Giuliani should be able to use this in his court appearance or his appeal. At least it seems like that would be a benefit for him. Now, a bankruptcy judge gave Rudy Giuliani the green light to seek a new trial to challenge the $148 million defamation verdict, won by two Georgia election workers after Rudy got railroaded by an Obama judge and was unable to present any evidence at trial. How does that work? Now, last month, Rudy Giuliani filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, one day after Obama-appointed Judge Beryl Howell ordered immediate enforcement of Georgia election worker Ruby Freeman and Wandrea Shea Moss, who are supposed to receive the $148 million judgment against him. I think those things are probably going to change. Now, according to Bloomberg, Giuliani listed $500 million in debt and between $1 million and $10 million in assets. The bankruptcy filing put the litigation on hold, and now the judge is allowing Giuliani to seek a new trial to challenge the outrageous $148 million judgment. Now he doesn't have to produce evidence, even though he has quite a bit. There's already evidence out there, and now it has become, hopefully, part of his appeal. See how that works out for him. I don't think he's crossed Trump, but some believe he has. I heard that he was given no opportunity, but I didn't think it was no evidence that he was able. I think he was holding it back, the evidence that they have. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I didn't know that the judge didn't allow him to present evidence. How is that even possible? And obviously, it didn't make mainstream media. So I have this, and this is what I wanted to share. A video of the House Homeland Security Committee holds a hearing on threats to the homeland. Maybe I should give you this information first. I think this would be best. Yeah, I think this is going to be best. Let me go with this. Now, this, I believe, is going to give you a little detail of how the FBI works. Now, judge orders release of the last defendant in Newburgh 4 case. Blasts the FBI's role in orchestrating its own terrorism plots. U.S. District Judge Colleen McMahon has ordered the release of James Cromity, a man previously convicted in a post 9/11 terrorist sting, harshly criticized the FBI's reliance on a controversial informant in what she described as an FBI orchestrated conspiracy. The ruling centers on a plot to attack New York synagogue at shooting down National Guard planes, a plan the judge deemed as largely manufactured by the FBI itself. Cromity, who is 58, was granted compassionate release on Friday, completing 15 years of 25-year sentence. His release follows that of his three co-defendants, collectively known as the Newburgh Four, who were similarly freed 6 months prior. The group, hailing from Newburgh, a small city 60 miles north of New York City, was convicted of terrorism charges in 2010. However, the case has since been mirrored in controversy, with accusations of entrapment and overreach by federal agents. Prosecutors had argued that the defendants spent months planning their attack, procuring what they believed were explosives and surface to air missiles. This intended targets were purportedly the Air National Guard base in Newburgh and a synagogue in the Bronx. The arrests were made after they allegedly planted bombs which, unbeknownst to them, contained inert explosive supplied by the FBI. In her scathing ruling, Judge McMahon stated the FBI had not only created the conspiracy, but also selected the targets. She expressed that without the FBI's orchestration, Cromitie and his co-defendants were incapable of conceiving such a sophisticated plot, much less carrying it out. Furthermore, McMahon criticized the government's choice of informant Shahid Hussein, who she called a villain, looking to exploit the poorest and the weakest of men into committing a contrived crime for cash. Hussein's credibility had been previously questioned due to his involvement in other contagious stings. He gained renewed attention in 2018 when a limousine owned by his company was involved in a crash in Schoharie, New York, resulting in 20 fatalities. His son, Newman Hussein, was convicted of manslaughter in connection to the crash. Cromitie's attorney, Kerry Lawrence, expressed relief at the ruling, reiterating his belief in Cromitie's entrapment by the government, with the family elated at the news. Lawrence stressed that the conviction was entirely a product of the governmental manipulation. This is why I started with this story first. And I will go into the video, and you got to see this. Some people say that there's no evidence that the January 6th issue, we know what we're talking, what's going on. I got to be subtle with my explanation, that there's no evidence. Well, let's see what House Homeland Security Committee holds a hearing on threats to the homeland.
Director Wray. Last year, you might recall, sir, our exchange regarding the FBI's involvement on January 6th and prior. I'm happy to jog your memory to quote, according to the record, I asked you, did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on January 6th prior to the doors being opened? You responded, I quote, again, I have to be very careful of what I say. To which I said, it should be a no. Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on January 6th. A year has passed. We sit here again a year later. We, the people, still do not have a definitive answer from you or anyone else in the Biden administration regarding the FBI presence and participation in the months leading up to the November election and in the weeks and days prior to January 6th and on January 6th here in D.C. we can't get a straight answer, although we have a tremendous amount of evidence harvested and reviewed over the course of the last year, which you will see in September. Stephen D'Artano, formerly in charge of the FBI's field office in Washington, D.C., testified to the House Judiciary Committee that he was aware the FBI informants would attend the Stop the Steal rally going on January 6th. You confirmed that the FBI had confidential human sources at the Stop the Steal rally on January 6th here in D.C., sir?
Congressman, as we've discussed before, I'm not going to get into where we have or have not used confidential human sources. But what I
Okay,
can
we'll
tell
move
you,
on.
you asked for a
We'll
definitive
move
answer.
on. It's my time. You said no, you're not going to answer. That's cool. We're watching.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Your,
answer?
your moment. The moment will come. This is my time. Earlier this year, an FBI informant who is reported to have quote, under oath, marched to the U.S. Capitol with fellow Proud Boys members on January 6th, close quote. He said he was communicating with his FBI handler while people were entering the U.S. Capitol. Can you confirm that the FBI had that sort of engagement with your own agents embedded into the crowd on January 6th?
If you are asking whether the violence at the Capitol on January 6th was part of some operation orchestrated by FBI sources and or agents, the answer is emphatically
You're saying
not.
no?
No.
You're saying no?
Not
Okay.
violence orchestrated
Let's
by
move
FBI
on.
sources or agents.
Are you familiar with you know what a ghost vehicle is? Director of the FBI certainly should. You know what a ghost bus is?
A ghost bus?
Ghost bus.
I'm not sure I've used that term before.
Okay. It's pretty common in law enforcement. It's a vehicle that's used for secret purposes. It's painted over. These two buses in the middle here, they were the first to arrive at Union Station on January 6th, 0500. I have all this evidence. I'm showing you a tip of this iceberg.
Mr. Chairman,
These two buses
Mr.
are
Chairman,
painted completely white.
point of order.
Point of order. Sure.
Just run over the time.
I understand, but you'll recall that Ms. Jackson Lee's been allowed to go 2 minutes before. I've been very fair in letting people finish their questioning throughout my tenure as chairman, and I'll continue to be fair on that regard. But I will make a note to the members, if you could stay as close within your time as possible. We have a lot of people that want to ask these gentlemen questions. So with that, the gentleman yields. But your point, I've been very fair in this, Mr. Ivy, with everybody on this side of the aisle just as much.
I don't think I accuse you of being unfair, Mr. Chairman.
You're making a
Point of
point.
order.
Okay, thank you. I now recognize Mr.
May I
Gray.
close this statement? Mr.
No,
Chairman?
I think your time is expired.
I note that other members across the aisle have been granted time, and I object to my question being closed. This is a very significant hearing, Mr. Chairman, and these buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters
You
and deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th. Your day is coming,
Major
Mr. Ray.
point, Mr. Higgins.
Now, what I am thinking, what people are going to say is,
Recordings just got better.
hang on
Hey,
one
it's Dana from
second, my
StreamYard. I'm
apologies,
so excited to announce that local recordings are now.
that they're going to say, how do you know they're dressed as Trump supporters? How do you know they're not Trump supporters? Well, I believe they have the evidence of that, but I don't have that to share today. But I'm thinking they're probably going to come out with the evidence of who chartered these buses, if there were even chartered buses, or at least where they originated from, because they do have license plates, and they could find, hopefully, that these are from some certain company. But I think they're going to find out that the license plates they're not even part of the DMV. They're fake plates. So why would Trump supporters and go, hey, let's gather a couple hundred people and let's put fake plates on a bus that's been already sprayed over, just white, no identification marks whatsoever. Let's just go down and check out what's going on in DC on J6. I just don't think that's going to be a possibility, but I believe they have plenty of information and evidence that I'm hoping finally comes out, but we just have to speculate for now. Let's I have one other piece I'd like to share. Before we go, that's Alaska Bureau urges residents to get ammo and arm themselves. Why is this? Now, this is the Alaskan regional government is urging its residents to be armed and ready. So the Matanuska Susitona, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, Borough Assembly voted Tuesday to encourage its people to have guns and ammunition, linking the need to rely on the Second Amendment to and increase its crime and death of the state trooper. Now, they believe that there's a lot of crime going on, but have you ever heard a government to prepare with your making sure you're prepared with guns and ammo and they have enough of it? I don't know. That sounds like a good government. That's what I'm thinking. Use of the Second Amendment. Well, again, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all. I appreciate everybody that does stop in. And if you'd like to be a part of the show and you would like to be a guest, let me know. We can do a topic on what you would like, or I can do a newscast of what's going on that you will not find news like this during your mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, any of those reports. And then we could discuss it after. You can give me some comments and maybe a quote or two. Let me know what you want. You can find me. You can find my email address down below. You can also leave a message in the comment section, and I try to respond as soon as I can on both. I am having an issue with my email address giving me notifications, but I do check it periodically. God bless everybody. God bless the world. We haven't seen anything yet. I believe that there's a lot coming. Be prepared. Have a great day. God bless.